Shalom, giving all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation as always to the elect, the tabernacle of David, as well as the large multitude, the rest of the men, women, and children whom the Lord will have mercy on. All right. And that body is known as the remnant, in which the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is getting ready to come deliver that remnant as it is written and promised in the Holy Scriptures. All right. And I was looking at some articles dealing with the wars and the rumors of wars. There's a lot going on. Trump is pussyfooting, on putting his foot down and striking Iran. All right. But as me and various other brothers say, the least, all right, Israel, all right, is eventually going to force the hand of Babylon the Great to do something which is going to lead to World War III. As the scriptures say, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Now, I was looking at comments to these particular articles dealing with, what's going on in Iran, what's going on with China, what's going on with Russia, how these nations view America, how particular NATO and EU countries are reneging on particular deals and growing fed up with Babylon the Great, which is America. And from everything that I read, pretty much the American people and people who view America in a good light don't ever see it falling because of the strength of its military. Okay, and that was how, nations and people looked at the ancient Roman Empire, man. Because even though Rome was a power, it was an idea that was embedded in people's mind about its glory. Same thing here with America, but now we're living at the time, just as at the end of the Roman Empire, morally, all right, the infrastructure and everything is falling apart. The minds of the people, the idol worship is all leading to a decrepit, all right, state, but as the scriptures say, dealing with, this beast system. All right. I'll read here. This is Revelation 13:2. And the beast, all right, which thou saw was like unto a leopard. That's the Greeks. All right. That's the beginning of this beast system. Started with the Greek. Okay. The Greeks. All right. You had Alexander, but before him, you had his father, okay, who went through conquering, all right, with the sword, taking over lands, all right, oppressing people's heritage and doing, all right, what they do today, okay. And they were known for their military strength, all right. And after the Roman Empire, eventually after the Greeks, you had the Romans. But let me keep reading. It says in his feet, whereas the feet of a bear, all right, which is speaking of Russia and how Gog and Magog would lead the pack, all right, to be the destruction of this whole beast system. All right, it says in the latter days, it says in his mouth was the mouth of a lion, okay, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority, okay, and this is basically the ancient Roman Empire, okay, which came after the Greek Empire. Okay, and they went through conquering, okay, and destroying, all right, and their military was like none other, okay, and that same narrative is being pushed here today through America, okay, which is the modern day Roman Empire, and we'll keep reading. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, meaning the Roman Empire fell, all right, and for a period of 1,000 years, the image of the Edomite was buried. Okay, they were no longer able to spread their lies, their art, everything was buried. Their image, they were pushed up into the caves. Okay, and his deadly wound was healed. All right, and that wound was healed at the time of the Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. Okay, and what did you see being reborn around the 1400s, late 1300s, mid 1400s? The Roman Edomite way of life. All right. The Roman literature, the Roman art, okay, the Roman way, okay, and from that point, Okay, through families like the Medicis, the Borgias, and various other crime-filled families, Esau, all right, was reborn, and his image was reborn, and he was able to go throughout the four corners of the earth and do nothing but complete wickedness, man. And he would be given the power by the Most High to do this. All right. So when his deadly wound was healed, the Renaissance period, all the world wondered after the beast. Why? Because of their great military, because they were blessed with the sword. These are Edomites. This whole system, this whole chapter is speaking of the Edomites, man. Okay, this is a chapter filled with prophecy, history, okay, and judgments. Okay, and it even speaks about, all right, the mark of the beast, which would be pushed forth out of this beast system in the latter days, which we're living in that time now, man. Okay, so all the world wondered after the beast, man. Okay, meaning worshipped it, and it says, and they worshipped the dragon. Okay, the ancient Roman Empire, which gave power unto the beast. Okay, and they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" You see, who is able to make war with him? And this is the narrative that I noticed today when reading comments. Okay. And as I was reading those comments, okay, because I'm a comment reader, okay, I was led to this speech by a George S. Patton, all right, who was a lieutenant, okay, and we'll read, all right, his speech, not all of it, but some of it, and just to show you the pride of these Edomites and how they think. All right. Now, America, Babylon the Great, along with the NATO and the EU, is a force to be reckoned with. But we're living in a time where that whole system is being weakened. All right. One part is strong, one part is weak. They agree. All right. Some agree financially, some agree. All right. Politically, but some disagree in politics. Some disagree financially. Some disagree with the way America goes around, starting conflict with these different places so it can take over. Some are just like, let's just chill. But you have other that are like, let's keep going. So right now, this whole beast system is in disarray. All right. And they're split in interest, which is a prelude to its destruction, because a kingdom that is divided will not stand. Now, dealing with the ancient Roman Empire, I wanted to read this real quick. It says, ancient Rome, the legacy of Rome. It says, the civilization of the ancient Rome had a lasting legacy on world history. Not only did the ancient Rome cover a vast amount of land at its peak, and how did they cover that vast amount of land? All right, through bloodshed, through war, through the sword. As the blessing Isaac gave the Edomites was that what? Okay, they would live by the sword, and the Edomites, okay, are the Romans. Okay, the Edomites are the Romans. Salakia. It says, not only did the ancient Rome cover a vast amount of land at its peak, but it also existed for almost 1,000 years. The legacy of ancient Rome is still felt today in Western culture, in areas such as government, law, language, architecture, engineer, and religion. All right. But also militarily. Okay. Because people never saw that the ancient Roman Empire would fall, man. But through decay, all right, through idol worship, through inflation, through lewdness, through lead being in the water, through their military being spread too thin, eventually they fell, man. And Esau Edom is the progenitor of the ancient Roman Empire. Okay, the one that we know of, because the original Romans were a Japhetic people, man. Romulus and Remus. They weren't Edomites, but this land was taken over by Edomites. Okay, but they were the Romans we know today. All right, those were Edomites, man. Okay, and Esau for so long has taken pride in the Greco-Roman Empire, but now that we are linking them to the Edomites, you don't really hear that no more. Now, let's go back to the scripture real quick. Okay. It says, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? This whole system, who was able to make war with him? And this mind frame is embedded in the people, because every comment I was reading, they were basically like, well, America, we have these countries surrounded in the air, on the ground, in the water. They'll never, we'll just blow them to smithereens. That same, all right, mind frame is what follows and comes along with this beast system, man. Okay. Now it says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, man. And this system is speaking great, all right, words and blasphemy, man. Okay. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. All right. His power is limited. Okay. And it says, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name. Okay. To blaspheme his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. So they blaspheme the name of the Most High, his image. They blaspheme the Israelites, which are the tabernacle, through pseudoscience and lies and witchcraft. And they blaspheme the angels, man. Now, okay, they can no longer hide the fact that the so-called UFOs are here, man, and real. See, they blasphemed them for so long, but now them that dwell in heaven are getting the advantage, man. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them through what? War. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, man. Okay, all the way up to America, Babylon the Great. These Edomites, from the time of the Renaissance till now, have conquered, destroyed, killed. Okay, and I looked up this article, and we'll get to that General Patton, because that dude was a character, man. Okay, it says America has been at war 93% of the time. Okay. Now, America has been in existence for about 240 years, 239 years, as you see. All right. Out of those years, 93% of the time, it's been at war. Okay. You see? And a lot of and I'll say 98% of those wars, they were on the offense. They weren't on the defense. Okay. Now, and this is all described in the scriptures that they would do this. Habakkuk described it. Jeremiah described it. This is why they're called the hammer of the earth, man. As a matter of fact, let's get that. All right. Jeremiah 50. All right. Woo. I started at 22. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. And we see the wars and rumors of wars being spoken of, man. These nations gearing up. Okay. It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee. All right. And thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. And that snare is being laid for them right now, man. Okay, that snare is, and their pride has them unaware, all right, that they're getting ready to be taken and destroyed, man, from within their own system, from some of their own allies. Okay, and the NATO and the EU are gonna grow tired of the bullshit that it's getting them into, because the NATO and the EU work for the interests of Babylon the Great. You see, but these particular countries are now growing tired, all right, because don't get it twisted. These countries are eating off of America, all right, giving their interest unto the beast system for the purpose and benefit of America gives them the advantage, but those advantages are now ruining their business with other countries. All right, so all of these different countries are now trying to find a way out of this whole US dollar. All right. And start their own things, which, when that happens, is going to lead to war, man. So America is being drawn out. All right. And then you have Israel. OK, who's America is Israel's bitch. All right. And they do nothing but wickedness and strike particular countries. And then they have America and these various different countries to back them up and to fight for them. So right now, it seems as though this beast system will never lose, right? It says thou art found and also caught because thou hast striven against the Lord. Okay. Because Esau has some, like this world calls it karma, but judgment is coming to this place, man. You see, as the scriptures say in Isaiah, the 47th chapter, Esau never thought about the latter end of his doings, man. Putting a woman above the man, putting women and gays and transgenders in his military. Okay. Conquering too many lands through the sword. So right now, America is wide open for the taking, man. Okay. It says the Lord has opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation for the work of the Lord of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Okay, in the Chaldeans, all right, is speaking of Esau, Edom, man. Okay, because this is all ran by the elites, the witches, all right, and warlocks of this, the priesthood of this kingdom, man. Okay, now we'll go back to that, but let's go to this dude's speech. Okay, and we'll go back to this because it's another video I wanted to show. But Patton's blood and guts speech. Now, this is an Edomite. You can see that proud look on his face. All right. It says in April 1941, Patton, who had been an acting commander of the 2nd Armored Division for 6 months, was given permanent command to promoted to a major general. All right. His most important priority was training men of war. One of his first acts as a commander had been to build the amphitheater in the wooded hills of Fort Benning that could accommodate the entire division. It was soon known as the Patton Bowl. The earliest versions of his soon to be famous blood and guts speeches were delivered. All right. As one soldier recalled. Okay. And, you know, we're going to read some of what he was saying. It was not just a speech. It was a performance. Patton was not blessed with a deep booming voice. His voice was actually rather high, certainly not, all right, the gravelly bass of George C. Scott in the Hollywood movie Patton. OK, they had a movie about this guy. This was a master of dramatic pause, lowering his voice to great effect, forcing the audience to listen carefully before bellowing out a line of profanity. All right. Toxic masculinity is what they would call it today. But that's how America was built. You don't build and protect the country with a bunch of damn sissies. OK, now, let's see. It says many elements of the speech were recycled over and over. Some became classic. Some lines became classic. It says, men, this is him. This stuff that some sources sling around about America wanting out of this war. All right. You see that? Not wanting out of this war, not wanting to fight is a crock of bullshit. Americans love to fight. All real Americans love the sting and clash of battle. And this is an Edomite. OK, they know their blessing is the sword, so they don't ever think they'll lose. Americans love a winner. Americans will not tolerate a loser. Americans despise cowards. OK, Americans play to win all of the time. OK, I wouldn't give a hoot in hell for a man who lost and laughed. That's why Americans have never lost and will never lose a war, for the very idea of losing is hateful. For the very idea of losing is hateful to an American. You see, death must not be feared. OK, and he goes on and on and on. But let's read some other stuff he said. We have the finest food, the finest equipment, the best spirit, the best men in the world. Why, by God, I actually pity those poor sons of bitches we're going up against. By God, I do. OK. And this is not only the mind of the people who are in the military and the generals. This is a mind of the people who see Babylon the Great. OK. It says, I don't want to hear of any soldier under my command being captured unless he has been hit. Even if you are hit, you can still fight back. All of the real heroes are not storybook combat fighters either. Every single man in this army plays a vital role. So he's amping up his men. Okay? So as you keep reading, it's a whole, it's a speech, and there was a movie about him, but I was led to this by reading a comment, man, of an Edomite, saying basically, Patton's blood and guts. All right, America will never lose a war. All right, but now look at the war. Look at the soldiers, man. They're all fagged out. You got women on the front line. Everybody's in disarray. Okay, as the scriptures say, the men of Babylon are going to forborn to fight. They remain in their holes, man. Now you got a bunch of sissies, man. Okay, but people still, even with that, have this mind frame that Babylon the Great will never lose a war, man. Okay, because they have been in so many wars and have obliterated many. But we're living in a time now where, according to prophecy, as we were just reading in Jeremiah, they're getting ready to take the L, man. But the pride of their heart have deceived them into believing they're going to constantly win, man. And you can look at all of the wars. Some of them weren't major, but people were blown up and people died. Okay. All of the wars, and it goes on and on and on and on, man. Okay. And it's always a war on terror, as you can see lately, but that's all bullshit, man. Okay. And right now you have this thing going on in Saudi Arabia, which we believe America's behind it, but who knows? All right. But it's all a part of the theater of war. The Lord is getting ready to have this place to be destroyed. Now, let's see here. I wanted to play this video. All right. Because in recent times, there's more articles and news and talks of America actually losing a war, which that spirit has not been in the earth in a long time. Okay. And it's still, people proud, but then there's also the other side of it. Should we stop? So let's go ahead and listen to this.
We got a stark warning today. A report says that the U.S. has lost its military edge and could lose a war against China or Russia. That is the conclusion of a bipartisan commission selected by Congress. Among its members is Michael Morell, former deputy director of the CIA and current CBS News national security contributor. Michael joins us from D.C. tonight. So explain, how do we get to this stage, Michael?
Really two main developments. One abroad and then one at home. The one abroad is that our main competitors, and we're really talking about China and Russia here, have for some time been investing in fighting a conventional war.
China and Russia, all right, they got some shit, man. They've grown militarily, man. Okay, and U.S. is the number one arms dealer, man. So these countries are now amping up, man. And not only is Russia and China, all right, swagged up and have the armor, but they're also arming, all right, mainly Russia arming these other various countries that have issues with Babylon the Great America.
Well, we've been mired in 17 years of counterterrorism, counterinsurgency, non-conventional war. So we have not.
America has wasted a lot of their military on lies and bullshit and witchcraft. Okay, because America wants to conquer every goddamn thing. The elites use America to go around the world and be the hammer. Okay, the elites use America as a tool of witchcraft and as a tool of chaos and confusion to spread the wine, weaken, destroy these various different countries so that they can set up shop. You see, that's why America is called the hammer of the earth. Okay.
The other is a development here at home, which is the Budget Control Act of 2011, sequestration, which significantly cut defense spending and put those two things together, and they brought us to this place.
But the U.S. still spends $716 billion a year on military. China's one.
Bro, let's hear that again. This is why people don't think they'll ever lose.
$16 billion a year on military and $716 billion a year on military. China's 175, Russia's 60. What are we doing wrong?
So our competitors have a much smaller area of the globe to worry about, right? They worry about primarily the regions in which they live, and we're talking about Russia, China, North Korea, Iran. We have to worry about the entire globe because our interests are diverse.
Our interests are diverse, meaning they, all right, are spread all throughout the world, man. And this is what happened to the ancient Roman Empire. They were spread too thin. Now, it wasn't as vast as America, all right, but it was the same idea. Let's get Habakkuk chapter 1, okay? Habakkuk chapter 1, all right? Habakkuk 1 and 6, for lo, I raise up the Chaldeans. Because Habakkuk is asking, when is the end going to come? Well, the end is going to come just like Pharaoh and the Egyptians were raised up. All right, the end is going to come through whom the Lord is saying here, the Chaldeans, all right, being raised up, but he's speaking of a different time. And to give you understanding on that, let's get Isaiah 47 real quick. Isaiah 47 and 1, it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne. All right. That throne, that pride, all right, that these Edomites have is getting ready to be taken down because they think they're the top dog. All right. That's why they take on the emblem of the eagle, the highest flying bird. It says, oh, daughter of the Chaldeans. So daughter of Babylon. All right. Virgin daughter of Babylon. Oh, daughter of the Chaldeans. OK, which this is speaking of the Edomites. Lamentations chapter 4. OK, and 21. OK, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup shall also pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and make thyself naked. And this is happening. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So when you go to Habakkuk, okay, and that chapter we just read in Isaiah 47, that's speaking of the nation that the Lord will destroy to avenge us and take us out of captivity. The final captivity, we would be in the hands of Esau, Edom, the daughter of the Chaldeans, the daughter of Babylon. So Habakkuk 1 and 6, for lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, okay, which were the modern witches of the ancient, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, which this is the daughter of Babylon, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall mark through the breadth of the land and possess dwelling places that are not theirs, man. Okay. Through what? Their military, that sword, man, that they were blessed with. They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. Their horses are swifter than leopards and are more fierce than the evening wolves. And their horsemen shall spread themselves. They shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle that hasted to eat. Okay, they shall fly as the eagle that hasted to eat, man. They shall spread themselves, man. Okay, as the scripture saying, Habakkuk, okay, 2 and 5, it says, yea, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Whom the enlargeth his desire is as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. That's why there's still talk of war when they got all of this money. Why don't they just stop and just rule? They can't do that. They have to have blood. They have to infiltrate. They have to do wickedness. They have to poison. They have to blow up. They have to see blood. They have to do it. They have to conquer. They to the point where they're even going to try to conquer. They're even trying to conquer the Most High God. They're trying to conquer Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and they're even going to fight against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And this goes to show you that these are the Edomites, because when you get Genesis, the 27th chapter, Esau's blessing, okay, is what? 27:39. And Isaac his father answered and said, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, meaning Esau will control the world at a point in time. There's only two nations that are going to control the whole entire world. That's Esau and Jacob. But Esau's fall is going to lead to Jacob getting that rule, man. And of the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shall thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. Okay? By thy sword shall thou live, man. That's how he would get the fatness of the earth, man. And thou shalt serve thy brother, because it was given to Jacob that all his brethren will serve him, man. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Okay, because under David, we had them in hardcore captivity, and he eventually, uprooted himself from that dominion, because of course Solomon went off. Okay, and then we lost that power. And then at the time of the Dark Ages, we had them in the caves, and then eventually the spirit was put on them for that deadly wound to be healed. Okay, and they have built up all the way unto this, which is all prophecy. But when you look up this word dominion, okay, rawad, it says to wander restlessly, roam, to be restless, to show restlessness. And this is at the forefront of how he rules, all right, going throughout the four corners of the earth, wreaking havoc. Okay, this is why they can't keep still, because they have so much interest in so many parts of the world, whereas Iran, Russia, and these various different nations, they have dominion over particular parts and interest in particular regions of the earth, but it's not on the mass scale of America. So America's military is spread thin. Let's type that in, the ancient Roman military spread thin. Yep, let's see here. Quite thin. All of the Roman Empire, quite thin. I'll just hit to the point. Okay. It says to defend the large empire they created, speaking of Rome, they relied heavily on border forts spanning the vast expanse of the Roman Empire, which spread their army quite thin. This is off collegehistory.info, ancient manuscripts, fall of the Roman Empire. This is what led to their fall. So their strength became their weakness. And that's what's happening here with Babylon the Great. You see, over here, the people are stupefied. They're dumb. They dwell carelessly. Okay. And everybody in the world is growing hate towards America. Now it says all of this caused the army not to have any real incentive to defend the borders like they used to. There was no more grand conquest into barbarian lands, but defending from the many migrating and warring tribes moving into the borders. And that's all happening spiritually. Okay, America, the enemies are already over here, but America is surrounded. They pride themselves in surrounding everybody, but America is surrounded. Okay? It says this defensive strategy started after the death of the Emperor Trajan and during the reign of the Emperor Hadrian. All right. All of this kept the army from being able to do what they are made for, in addition to all of its logistics systems for the border of fortifications, and the army was so poor that an invading force would be well into the borders before it would meet a significant resistance. This led to many drastic measures, such as Hadrian's Wall, a large stone and wall system for a fortification spanning from the length of Britain. All right, just so forth, and it goes on and on. I'm actually have to read that, but this is happening now. This is why when you read Ezekiel 38, okay, these nations know that America is ready for the taking. Okay. It says, Verse 11, verse 10, it says, "Thus said the Lord God, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, America, Babylon the Great. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwelleth safely, all of them dwelling without walls, having neither bars nor gates," meaning it's wide open for an attack, for a right hook. You see? And not only do you have to worry about these nations, but the chariots are going to finish your asses off, man. Because you so proud that you think you're going to fight against the second coming of Yahushua as well, man. So you got military in the space, you got military spread all throughout the four corners of the earth. You just got military everywhere, all right? But you're not considering that that can be used against you, all right? Let's keep going.
And we are fighting, again, this non-conventional war every day that's eating up resources and eating up investment in our military. So I think that is the difference, Jeff.
Mike, so give us an idea what this looks like. When we talk about losing a war to Russia or China, what does that mean?
So I think Taiwan is a great example. If you can imagine a scenario in which the Chinese conduct a surprise attack on Taiwan, the U.S. would have great difficulty quickly getting forces there, because the Chinese have invested in area denial weapons that are specifically designed to keep us. So we could eventually mount a counterattack if we mobilize the nation, and we might be able to win that war. But even if we did, it would come at horrendous cost, Jeff.
There's a whole economy, as you know, built around military and military spending. To the detractors who might say this is just trying to sustain that industry and increase the amount of money going to it.
At the end of the day, there wasn't anybody on this panel who was thinking that way. This panel was thinking about the U.S. interests in the world, the threats we face, the advances that our adversaries are made, and the challenges we're likely to face. And we're worried, Jeff. We are worried that we're not going to be able to meet them.
Are you optimistic this all gets fixed?
So I'm not. There were similar warnings in 2010, similar warnings in 2014, Jeff, by similar panels. Nothing was done. In order to actually fix this, we would need a political consensus, and you know the state of our politics. This reminds me a bit, Jeff, of all of the strategic intelligence warnings in the years before 9/11, and we all know how that story ended.
The president mentioned the other day that his predecessor had helped, I believe the wording he used was devastated the U.S. military, and President Trump has said that he's brought back the military to what it was before. Are either of those sentiments accurate?
Both political parties are to blame. The Budget Control Act was a deal between the Obama White House and Republicans in Congress. And it is absolutely true that President Trump's initial budget did give the military some more money, and he deserves.
So it was cut off. But yes, since Trump has been in office, I mean, as we were reading, particular places are bombed by the American, the U.S. military. All right. What does it say? I believe it was every 2 minutes there was a bombing, or I forget. But let's see this. Let's listen to a little bit of this real quick.
U.S. Defense Panel has warned that the military is falling out of alignment with its key goals. The National Defense Strategy Commission submitted a report to Congress saying the U.S. needs to rebuild its military force capacity and capability in Europe. The document says that if the United States had to fight Russia in a Baltic contingency or China in a war over Taiwan, Americans could face a decisive military defeat. The commission calls for budget caps on military spending to be removed, and it says the wars in Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq are holding the military back, causing the U.S. to neglect so-called great power competition. Arvind Vohra, a 2020 presidential hopeful for the U.S. Libertarian Party, says overseas interventions have harmed U.S. national security.
The reason that Americans are in danger right now, and they are, is because the U.S. military is creating enemies. They're creating enemies in Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan, throughout the entire Middle East. We don't need to create more enemies. The United States is already spending more than the next several nations combined on military spending. I think what the report is reflecting is that the U.S. military has entirely lost sight of its actual purpose. The military's job is to keep the United States of America and our people safe at the lowest cost possible, to keep us safe with as low taxes as we can. And this move is a move in the wrong direction. We can be safer and have less and have lower taxes if we have the courage to say America's defense is important, but defending.
And they're not going to stop, you see. But this is going into the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, you see. Let's get that in the book of Obadiah. They think, and these people believe, that they're going to be able to continue to go and go and go and go, man. All right. Obadiah 1 and 2, as this guy said, America is creating many enemies. Okay. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. All right. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee. Thou that dwelleth in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, okay, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, space defense, you know, talking about he went to the moon, you know, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Okay, and this is what's happening right now, man. You know, the pride of your heart has deceived you. Okay, Isaiah 47 says what, man? And I guarantee you, you read the comments here. Okay. People are cursing America out, man. But I was reading some articles earlier on what's going on with Iran and all of these various different things. And the narrative was just people were just proud, man. All right. I could find that article, but for the sake of time, you know, and people were just cursing America out. You know, what war have America actually won? The war on drugs, the war on poverty, the war on terror, and on, spending billions to lose, not win. It's all bullshit, man. And everybody knows that America is through, man. Oh, man. And see, people are now waking up to the fact that this is all bullshit, man. Peace is bad for business. Let me go back to that other video real quick. Let's read the comments here a little bit. Are we really saying a war between nuclear powers would be a winner? Fear mongering. Unbelievable. The U.S. has over 5,000 nuclear weapons. North Korea has a handful. If North Korea with a few nukes feels safe from an attack, I think the U.S. is just fine. Who in the world will want to have war with the U.S.? Russia? China? End of mankind? If 7 billion is not enough, throw another trillion at it. That's why the roads are crumbling. All right? Oh, man. And everybody's saying it's propaganda. Some people, you know, you got people mixed in opinions, which that's a part of why this is Babylon the Great, all of the confusion. All right. But ultimately, this is all prophecy, man. You know, prophecy is playing out on the planet Earth, man. Okay. Let's see here. Isaiah 47 and 7. And thou hast said, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thine heart, neither did thou remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given unto pleasures, man. Because you can't be the bully forever, man. You can't do wickedness forever without the Lord addressing you, man. Plus, you touched the apple of his eye, the Israelites, man. All of these things need to be taken into understanding, man. Consideration. This place has put out a bunch of bad energy, man. The way you treat animals, idol worship, lying, stealing, rape, rob, murder, pedophilia. Okay? The Lord gonna deal with you. That sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else besides me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. This is the mind frame of the people and the rulers, man. Okay, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, and one day the loss of children, widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and the great abundance of thine enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, for thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else besides me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, that thou shalt not know whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou had not known. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. And you can see those enchantments being thrown out. You can see the bread and circuses, the confusion that Esau is trying to throw out to hide the fact that he is in total disarray, man. You know, and these particular nations are getting ready to shoot missiles, all right, on this place, man. Okay. Revelation 17 and 12. Okay. And the 10 horns, which are the vassal states, the ancient Roman Empire had vassal states, the Goths, the Vandals, the Visigoths, the Sueves, the various different vassal states, which worked in the beast system for the purpose of the Roman Empire. They got gifts and different advantages by joining them and aligning themselves to the Roman Empire, but they had to work for the interest. They were a lesser working for the greater, okay, which have received no kingdom as of yet. All right, because America is the Rome. America is the powerhouse. These nations are just vassals, okay, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Okay, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So these various different nations for all these years have given their power unto the beast system. All right. These shall make war with the Lamb. And if you look, all of these various different countries are talking about space defense. And, you know, it's not just Babylon. OK. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Okay. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, because it was given unto them to have power over all the nations, man, through Babylon the Great, Esau, Edom. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, okay, these shall hate the whore, the NATO and the EU, man, which is started as 10 nations and eventually, I believe, is now in the 20s. Okay. It's gotten even bigger. Okay. These shall make war with the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Okay. Right now, the snare is being laid for Babylon. All right. And the spirit is being put on you to continue and continue. Then you have the so-called Jew. All right. Which is poking at people. So these nations are getting ready to fuck you up, man. Excuse my French. For God have put it in their hearts, okay, to fulfill his will. And what's his will? To burn her with fire, man. And to agree and to give their kingdom into the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled, man. And they've given their kingdom to the beast. But right now you see this whole system is in disagreeing on various things. Okay. You got particular NATO and EU countries that are saying, stop fucking with Iran. Stop. But America ain't going to stop, man. OK, you have particular countries like America is trying to start wars. They figured you out. OK, and the Lord has put it in their minds to figure you out, man. But the whole who shall make war with the beast, that whole talk is getting ready to be shut up, man. And the Lord, all right, through prophecy will prevail, man. Hopefully I will edify. Shalom.